sacrifices for Israel's festivals. Chapter 28. Regular daily sacrifices. This is also told in Exodus 29:38 to 43, Leviticus 6:8 to 13. The Lord told Moses to say to the people of Israel, "Offer sacrifices to me at the appointed times of worship, so that I will smell the smoke and be pleased. Each day offer 2 rams a year old as sacrifices to please me. The animals must have nothing wrong with them. One will be sacrificed in the morning and the other in the evening. Along with each of them, 1 kilogram of your finest flour mixed with a liter of olive oil must be offered as a grain sacrifice. This sacrifice to please me was first offered on Mount Sinai. Finally, along with each of these 2 sacrifices, a liter of wine must be poured on the altar as a drink offering. The second ram will be sacrificed that evening along with the other offerings, just like the one sacrificed that morning. The smell of the smoke from these sacrifices will please me. The sacrifice on the Sabbath. The Lord said, "On the Sabbath, in addition to the regular daily sacrifices, you must sacrifice 2 rams a year old to please me. These rams must have nothing wrong with them, and they will be sacrificed with a drink offering and 2 kilograms of your finest flour mixed with olive oil. The sacrifices on the first day of the month," the Lord said. "On the first day of each month, bring to the altar 2 bulls, 1 full-grown ram, and 7 rams a year old that have nothing wrong with them. Then offer these as sacrifices to please me. 3 kilograms of your finest flour mixed with olive oil must be offered with each bull as a grain sacrifice. 2 kilograms of flour mixed with oil must be offered with the ram, and 1 kilogram of flour mixed with oil must be offered with each of the young rams. The smell of the smoke from these sacrifices will please me. Offer 2 liters of wine as a drink offering with each bull, 1.5 liters with the ram, and 1 liter with each of the young rams. Finally, you must offer a goat as a sacrifice for sin. These sacrifices are to be offered on the first day of each month, in addition to the regular daily sacrifices. The sacrifices during Passover and the festival of thin bread. This is also told in Leviticus 23:48. The Lord said, "Celebrate Passover in honor of me on the 14th day of the first month of each year. The following day will begin the festival of thin bread, which will last for a week. During this time you must honor me by eating bread made without yeast. On the first day of this festival, you must rest from your work and come together for worship. Bring to the altar 2 bulls, 1 full-grown ram, 7 rams a year old that have nothing wrong with them, and then offer these as sacrifices to please me. 3 kilograms of your finest flour mixed with olive oil must be offered with each bull as a grain sacrifice. 2 kilograms of flour mixed with oil must be offered with the ram, and 1 kilogram of flour mixed with oil must be offered with each of the young rams. Also offer a goat as a sacrifice for the sins of the people. All of these are to be offered in addition to the regular daily sacrifices, and the smoke from them will please me. Then on the last day of the festival, you must once again rest from work and come together for worship." The sacrifices during the harvest festival. This is also told in Leviticus 23:15 to 22. The Lord said, "On the first day of the harvest festival, you must rest from your work. Come together for worship and bring a sacrifice of new grain. Offer 2 young bulls, 1 full-grown ram, and 7 rams a year old as sacrifices to please me. 3 kilograms of your finest flour mixed with olive oil must be offered with each bull as a grain sacrifice. 2 kilograms of flour mixed with oil must be offered with the ram, and 1 kilogram of flour mixed with oil must be offered with each of the young rams. Also offer a goat as a sacrifice for sin. The animals must have nothing wrong with them and are to be sacrificed along with the regular daily sacrifices. Chapter 29. The sacrifices at the Festival of Trumpets. This is also told in Leviticus 23:23-25. The Lord said, "On the first day of the seventh month, you must rest from your work and come together to celebrate at the sound of the trumpets. Bring to the altar 1 bull, 1 full-grown ram, and 7 rams a year old that have nothing wrong with them, and then offer these as sacrifices to please me. 3 kilograms of your finest flour mixed with olive oil must be offered with the bull as a grain sacrifice. 2 kilograms of flour mixed with oil must be offered with the ram, and 1 kilogram of flour mixed with oil must be offered with each of the young rams. You must also offer a goat as a sacrifice for sin. These sacrifices will be made in addition to the regular daily sacrifices and the sacrifices for the first day of the month. The smoke from these sacrifices will please me. The sacrifices on the great day of forgiveness. This is also told in Leviticus 23:26-32. The Lord said, "The 10th day of the 7th month is the great day of forgiveness. On that day you must rest from all work and come together for worship. Show sorrow for your sins by going without food, and bring to the altar 1 young bull, 1 full-grown ram, and 7 rams a year old that have nothing wrong with them. Then offer this as sacrifices to please me. 3 kilograms of your finest flour mixed with olive oil must be offered with the bull as a grain sacrifice. 2 kilograms of flour mixed with oil must be offered with the ram, and 1 kilogram of flour mixed with oil must be offered with each of the young rams. A goat must also be sacrificed for the sins of the people. You will offer these sacrifices in addition to the sacrifice to ask forgiveness and the regular daily sacrifices." The sacrifices during the Festival of Shelters. This is also told in Leviticus 23:33-44. The Lord said, "Beginning on the 15th day of the 7th month and continuing for 7 days, everyone must celebrate the Festival of Shelters in honor of me. On the first day, you must rest from your work and come together for worship. Bring to the altar 13 bulls, 2 full-grown rams, and 14 rams a year old that have nothing wrong with them. Then offer these as sacrifices to please me. 3 kilograms of your finest flour mixed with olive oil must be offered with each bull as a grain sacrifice. 2 kilograms of flour mixed with oil must be offered with each of the rams, and 1 kilogram of flour mixed with oil must be offered with each of the young rams. You must also offer a goat as a sacrifice for sin. These are to be offered in addition to the regular daily sacrifices. For the next 6 days of the festival, you will sacrifice one less bull than the day before, so that on the 7th day 7 bulls will be sacrificed. The other sacrifices and offerings must remain the same for each of these days. On the 8th day, you must once again rest from your work and come together for worship. Bring to the altar 1 bull, 1 full-grown ram, and 7 rams a year old that have nothing wrong with them. Then offer these as sacrifices to please me. You must also offer the proper grain sacrifices and drink offerings of wine with each animal, and offer a goat as the sacrifice to ask forgiveness to the people. These sacrifices are made in addition to the regular daily sacrifices. You must offer all these sacrifices to me at the appointed time of worship, together with any offerings that are voluntarily given or given because of a promise. Moses told the people of Israel everything the Lord had told him about the sacrifices. Chapter 30, Making Promises to the Lord. The Lord told Moses to say to Israel's three tribal leaders, "When one of you men makes a promise to the Lord, you must keep your word. Suppose a young woman who is still living with her parents makes a promise to the Lord. If her father hears about it and says nothing, she must keep her promise. But if he hears about it and objects, then she no longer has to keep her promise. The Lord will forgive her because her father did not agree with the promise. Suppose a woman makes a promise to the Lord and then gets married. If her husband later hears about the promise but says nothing, she must do what she said, whether she meant it or not. But if her husband hears about the promise and objects, she no longer has to keep it, and the Lord will forgive her. Widows and divorced women must keep every promise they make to the Lord. Suppose a married woman makes a promise to the Lord. If her husband hears about the promise and says nothing, she must do what she said. But if he hears about the promise and does object, she no longer has to keep it. The Lord will forgive her because her husband would not allow her to keep the promise. Her husband has the final say about any promises she makes to the Lord. If her husband hears about a promise and says nothing about it for a whole day, she must do what she said. Since he did not object, the promise must be kept. But if he waits until the next day to stop her from keeping her promise, he is the one who must be punished. These are the laws that the Lord gave Moses about husbands and wives and about young daughters who still live at home. Israel defeats Midian and prepares to cross the river Jordan. Chapter 31, Israel's war against Midian. The Lord said to Moses, "Before you die, make sure that the Midianites are punished for what they did to Israel." Then Moses told the people, "The Lord wants to punish the Midianites, so tell our men to prepare for battle. Each tribe will send 1,000 men to fight." 12,000 men were picked from the tribes of Israel, and after they were prepared for battle, Moses sent them off to war. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, went with them and took along some things from the sacred tent and the trumpets for sounding the battle signal. The Israelites fought against the Midianites just as the Lord had commanded Moses. They killed all the men, including Balaam, son of Beor, and the 5 Midianite kings, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba. The Israelites captured every woman and child, then led away the Midianites' cattle and sheep and took everything else that belonged to them. They also burnt down the Midianite towns and villages. Israel's soldiers gathered together everything they had taken from the Midianites, including the captives and the animals. Then they returned to their own camp in the hills of Moab across the river Jordan from Jericho, where Moses, Eleazar, and the other Israelite leaders met the troops outside camp. Moses became angry with the army commanders and said, "I can't believe you let the women leave. They are the ones who followed Balaam's advice and invited our people to worship the god Baal Peor. That's why the Lord punished us by killing so many of our people. You must put to death every boy and all the women who have ever had sex. But do not kill the young women who have never had sex. You may keep them for yourselves." Then Moses said to the soldiers, "If you killed anyone or touched a dead body, you are unclean and have to stay outside the camp for 7 days. On the 3rd and 7th days, you must go through a ceremony to make yourselves and your captives clean. Then wash your clothes and anything made from animal skin, goat's hair, or wood." Eleazar then explained, "If you need to purify something that won't burn, such as gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, or lead, you must first place it in a hot fire. After you take it out, sprinkle it with the water that purifies. Everything else should only be sprinkled with the water. Do all of this just as the Lord commanded Moses. Wash your clothes on the seventh day, and after that you will be clean and may return to the camp. Everything taken from the Midianites is divided. The Lord told Moses, make a list of everything taken from the Midianites, including the captives and the animals. Then divide them between the soldiers and the rest of the people. Eleazar the priest and the family leaders will help you. From the half that belongs to the soldiers, set aside for the Lord one out of every 500 people or animals and give this to Eleazar. From the half that belongs to the people, set aside one out of every 50 and give this to the Levites in charge of the sacred tent. Moses and Eleazar followed the Lord's instruction and listed everything that had been taken from the Midianites. The list included 675,000 sheep and goats, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 young women who had never had sex. Each half included 337,500 sheep and goats, 36,000 cattle, 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 young women. From the half that belonged to the soldiers, Moses counted out 675 sheep and goats, 72 cattle, 61 donkeys, and 32 women, and gave them to Eleazar to be dedicated to the Lord. Then from the half that belonged to the people, Moses set aside one out of every 50 animals and women, as the Lord had said, and gave them to the Levites. The army commanders went to Moses and said, Sir, we have counted our troops, and not one soldier is missing. So we want to give the Lord all the jewelry we took from the Midianites. It's our gift to him for watching over us and our troops. Moses and Eleazar accepted the jewelry from the commanders, and its total weight was nearly 200 kilograms. This did not include the things that the soldiers had kept for themselves. So Moses and Eleazar placed the gold in the Lord's sacred tent to remind Israel of what had happened.